welcome to the second episode of the BP Mindcast, which is the podcast of BP Learning. I'm Jonathan Bartlett, and as I said, my intent is to keep these short and straightforward, and on a hopefully on single topics. So, as I mentioned in the intro, I teach at a homeschool co-op, and I teach the seniors, and so in our homeschool co-op, we do a lot of reading of Greek literature. So we read Theogony, we read the Iliad, the Odyssey, the Aeneid, and we also read a book, Oedipus Rex, which you may have heard of. So Oedipus, a lot of people ask me, why do you read Oedipus? And the thing is that I actually think that Oedipus is one of the best books that we read from a personal development standpoint. And if you know the story, you might be wondering about me right now. Um, and so let me get a little bit out of the way. So if you're not familiar with Oedipus Rex, the story, it is a story about a man who he's under a curse that he will one day kill his father and marry his mother. And so on the basis of that curse, uh, the the his father is the king, so they have him sent away, so that he won't be able to do that. Well, so the kid doesn't know who he is, and so he grows into a man, and he comes into the territory, and he unknowingly kills his father and marries his mother. And so this obviously invokes the gag reflex of most sane people, and also is the name of Freud's edible complex comes from this story. Um, and so a lot of people, that's all they know about the story. And so therefore they think that this is, why are we reading this? This is a dumb story. But that's actually only the backstory for the real things that are happening in Oedipus. So in challenge 4, which is in classical conversations, which is the senior year level, the focus is on leadership, and this is actually what I think is one of the books that most directly ties into leadership. And you might find that strange, but stay with me. The book itself does not follow a linear timeline. The actual story of the book is, you have Oedipus as the king. Okay, so so when you start out, all these events that have already taken place. He's already killed his father. He's already married his mother, but he doesn't know it. Okay, so he is reigning as king, and there is a plague, and the plague is basically a curse from the gods. And so Oedipus is on a hunt to find out why the gods are angry. And so it turns out, as you know, they're actually angry at Oedipus for having done these things. And so, but the moral of the story, because he keeps on investigating deeper and deeper, even when it point is starting to point to him as being the problem. And the way that I read and I teach this story is, the thing is that as a leader, one of your jobs as a leader is to investigate problems. And there will indeed be times when any good leader investigates a problem, and what they're going to find is that they're the problem. And that's what happens in Oedipus, is that he's investigating, he's trying to find out what the problem is in the kingdom, and he is willing to dig deep enough to find out that he's the problem. And so we all want to blame things on other people. We all want to go and find out that the problem is those people over there. They're the ones that are causing our grief. We just need to go take care of them, get them in order, and everything will be fine. But sometimes, on a close look, it's actually us that's the problem. And are you willing, are you able, do you have the moral character to look in the mirror and recognize yourself as the problem. It's not always going to be you that's the problem, but sometimes it is. And a good leader is able to keep digging even when all the fingers point back at them. And so that's what I love about the story. Sometimes, again, for kids, getting past the gag factor is difficult, but I think it's a really worthwhile story to help them think about what it means to be a leader and what it means to examine the issues even when it turns out that you're the one that's at fault. You're the one that needs to change. You're the one who doesn't have your head screwed on right. You might be the leader, but you might also be screwing it up. That's a hard pill to swallow, um, but it's one that we have to be able to. So anyway, so um, that's it for this podcast. I just wanted to share that with you because it's something that a lot of people find surprising. They find it surprising that you can get anything worthwhile out of that book, but I really do. And I hope that if you've got kids in Challenge 4, I hope that you encourage them to read it. Maybe read it yourself, and just think on the fact that uh, when you go looking for where the problem is, it might be uh, the person sitting in your own chair.